All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Citizen Entrepreneur Explorers Program webinars. Each webinar, we try to cover material and information that you might find useful and helpful for us as faculty, but also for the people who might be helping and mentoring the students. They may be teachers' assistants, they might be graduate assistants who are there and helping the students at the undergraduate level. They may be tutors who've decided their department has started to use the Citizen Entrepreneur Explorers program. And so they need this kind of help to give them insights on why and how the curriculum can work better in your classroom. So today's webinar is specifically going to talk about the benefits of using CEEP. And today I'm excited to have on the call with us Tristan Rodriguez, who is a graduate student in film and television. But most importantly, he's working with our students, helping them at the mentoring level and helping us put materials together for the Citizen Entrepreneur Explorers program. Welcome, Tristan. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. Yeah, as you said, I'm a research assistant. This is my first semester with the program, and it's been super exciting being a part of it. And I've just seen a lot of the students, mostly through video. As you mentioned, I've been helping put together a few videos. Yeah, I've just been noticing that the students all come through like a huge different backgrounds, and that a lot of them have already been interested in research before this, and they're still coming in with kind of like still a hunger to learn more research, but especially they just want to improve their business skills, their entrepreneurship skills. So that's something that I've been super excited to help with about, and I'm super excited to keep going and helping these students just get better overall in anything that they want. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, Tristan, and we look forward to hearing more from you in future webinars, as we'll have you in talking about kind of progress reports with some of the students, maybe having some of those students come in and talk about their research and how they're reflecting on it later. We're going to have those kinds of exciting things going on too. I also want to add to the discussion here, because it's always exciting to have Jessica Pitts. She's a PhD student at the University of Massachusetts, Michigan State, right?
Oh, University of Michigan.
Oh, no, it's not the same. I know. University of Michigan, definitely not the same. So she is going to be offering her insights, having been part of the CEEP program almost from the very beginning. And she will offer with us some context for what it's been like to continue to evolve the program, and now to talk about benefits specifically of what the CEEP program has to offer. She's going to be providing that to us along with adding and commenting on what I have to say too. Jessica, thanks so much for being here, and please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Hi, everyone. So I've been with the program for a little bit over a year now. And I've definitely worked with a lot of students, and it's been a really interesting experience watching the students develop a research question, develop methodology, and then actually go out and collect data, and then actually give it back to the community. So that's the aspect that I focus a lot on, is the community outreach. So that's the unique aspect of CEEP. So that's kind of where I work most. And so, yeah, I'm excited to do this webinar today.
Great, and thanks, Jessica. So I'll be bringing folks back and forth into the spotlight here and sharing the screen with everyone. To get us started, I want to go over the material that we have before us today, just because it's always exciting to kind of give a context for what all this means and what it's all about. For the event today, we want to talk about benefits of using CEEP in the classroom. So we're going to be speaking a bit mostly from a faculty perspective. We will be producing another one that talks about the student benefits. In other words, what type of life skills the students might be developing because of CEEP. And that'll be in a future webinar that covers the power of citizenpreneurs or Citizen Entrepreneur Explorers program. So that's what we've got on the deck today. And what we'll also be talking about is to give you an overview. What are the CEEP steps to success? CEEP always has had these 5 steps. They've become more and more refined over time as different people have asked us questions about certain things, and we've gotten clearer and clearer about terminology that works well. For at this point, CEEP has been used with freshmen and sophomores. That's right, we've been teaching original research skills to freshmen and sophomores. So this is not graduate level research, we're talking about undergraduate level research, and this curriculum can help with that. Step 1 is find that question. Step 2 is figure out what you're going to be analyzing and how you're going to be gathering information about that question. And step 3 is the actual gathering and collection of that info. Step 4 is how are you going to look at that information and analyze it in different ways. And then step 5 is the report back, we call it. This is the secret power of the CEEP program. The report back is the thing that allows us to have social impact with a program like CEEP. And we'll talk about some of the ways that can happen going forward. So the CEEP timeline in the classroom is an important thing to keep in mind. Generally, when we put this CEEP together, we did it for a semester-long course because that was how the college where it currently resides and has been incubated and built out and explored and expanded. That's the type of framework that we've had. There's also at our college now a 8-week semester. So we'll be adapting CEEP to that. It's also been adapted for a week-long seminar style, and we've also done it for just a single-day seminar style. What I'd ask of Jessica is what are some of the ways that you've seen this timeline morphing and shifting, and what are some of the components that folks should keep in mind as they are working with the timeline and trying to make the timeline work for them and their students?
Yeah, so the 14 weeks that you mentioned is like based on the kind of original model, which is based on the timeline at BMCC for a course. And so you see here in the weeks 1 and 2, we see the research question and community connection. So initially, it was just that you started the community outreach at weeks 11 and 14. And now we're transitioning to kind of making initial contact with the community at the beginning so that there's different touch points throughout this process instead of at the end, because we saw that students were having problems waiting until week 11. You've, kind of maybe still doing stuff, maybe kind of finishing up your project. Week 11 was a short period of time to connect with like a community organization, such as like a community center or community board. So to give students the best chance, whatever timeline you're working with, if it's a hyphenated timeline even, having that community connection in the beginning, along with the research question. So you're thinking about a topic, you think you want to explore this. All right, so research some areas in your area, 3 to 4 places where you think that you might have the biggest impact or a big impact reporting your findings. So we tell our students that it doesn't have to be business related, even though this project is, has entrepreneurship in the focus. There are a lot of other places that their research could benefit that doesn't necessarily have to do with entrepreneurship. And so that's something to think about. And then also, so weeks 5 and 7. So for data collection, so it's 2 weeks here. Some students I've seen in the past have struggled with data collection because some it's difficult depending on your question, depending on the availability. So a lot of students are interviewing, owners, managers, and, depending on the specific industry, they may get different levels of responsiveness. And so that is where some students have trouble with as well.
Yeah, and I'll add here, Jessica, during the data collection and documentation, sometimes students assume that just gathering the information like a survey is enough. What they also uncover sometimes is that they want to go back to their research design a little bit and decide to do one interview or decide to add a secondary survey to it. So students are getting intrigued by the whole research process, which I find pretty fascinating, that they'll oftentimes add more to it without us asking them to. And then we've seen that on a few occasions where they did their observation of something and they were observing the neighborhood or observing store behavior or doing something like that. And then they were like, well, I want to know a little bit more here. And they would go in and do more data collection. I would remind all the faculty to make sure that their students actually document what they're gathering. So if they're doing observation, make sure that you have the original notes and photos of the original notes from the notebooks. Make sure that you're recording all of the interviews as an audio file, because you're going to want that documentation in order for it to be original research. And teaching them that kind of rigor is important at this point.
I agree. So I think that's all I have to say about the steps, I guess. Yeah, those are the places where I've seen students kind of get stuck the most. So I think that allocating time and resources to help students through those areas, especially also weeks 1 and 2 with the research questions. So a lot of students, they come in with different varying levels of knowledge. So just being mindful that some students may need more scaffolding than others, because some people don't know what a research question is or how it should look. Even though we do provide, an outline and some research guides, so it still may be unclear for students. So that's where students also have trouble with, just coming up with the topic and then translating that into a research question.
Yeah, and there's a resource that I'll offer you guys too, a webpage that I'll offer you guys. So check the website out in the next few weeks. As I'll connect us to that Trello that I built out with all the different content that teaches the different principles for each of the steps all along the way. And there's some great YouTube videos on specific types of introductory beginning places for these steps. So. Let's say bridging the gap between entrepreneurship and research. Talk to us a little bit, Jessica, about what this meant for you.
So yeah, this is like kind of the crux of the CEEP project. And so when you go from, so of course, entrepreneurs may conduct research, but it can sometimes be disconnected from, actual research that is done just for research purposes. And so with the CEEP program, the students are learning entrepreneurship concepts, and also we're incorporating that. So there's 2 benefits mainly for the students. So they get to see what entrepreneurship looks like, because we ask them to go out and do research on a business and talk to owners, to talk to people who are entrepreneurships in any stage of the entrepreneurship process. And so they get to see, okay, this is kind of what it looks like to run a business. And they get to ask certain questions that, you can't look up in a, textbook. And so this gets them thinking about entrepreneurship within their local neighborhoods, and also gives them research skills. So they are, they're generating questions, they're structuring their research methodology, and they're gathering data, they're analyzing, they're thinking critically about it. And so the CEEP project is kind of incorporating those 2 things.
Yeah, and I'll build off of what you're saying with regards to this flow that we have here. Because when you're talking about the business's benefit of market research, that's a kind of general thing that people always go to when they think about research and entrepreneurship. So they always go to that first place, right? Where, oh, well, go and do your market research. Well, we wanted to take it another step deeper by stepping into that local ecosystem and having them have a mission to talk to a local business that was beyond just them doing customer interviews. Because customer interviews is a useful skill for an entrepreneur, but it's not necessarily as useful for someone who's learning entrepreneurial mindset skills or general entrepreneurship skills that they'll be able to apply to all kinds of other things. And my belief is, as one of the people who created CEEP, the goal was to make it so that the students not only were able to learn what they were looking to get from entrepreneurship, but that they were actually able to practice connecting to people and not practice connecting to people in a networking situation where they're kind of socializing, but actually connecting to them for a purpose that is bigger than them. And then ultimately that next box is applied nature of CEEP, which then allows the student to explore something that means something to the student. Because if the student can connect to what they're doing in the classroom, then learning in general becomes something that the students can get excited about. As we get deeper here, I would say that the research curriculum can apply to any kind of entrepreneurship course, but it also could apply to a math class. It could also apply to a sociology class. So CEEP is one of those great things that teaches students fundamental research skills, whether you want your CEEP framework to be high-level research where a senior or first-year graduate student wants to look at something, and they'll use the advanced skills to complete all those 5 steps. And the same thing is true for the way we've been teaching it to freshmen and sophomores. Like, here's the foundational skills of what you need as a business person, or here's the foundational skills of what you need as someone who's studying sociology. Here's foundational skills of things you need studying nursing. So it really fits within any of those contexts. There have been a few of our students that have come through that are actually not business students. They have other majors. A lot of them come from other colleges because people are finding out about SBE 400, which is where this class has been lab tested and piloted many times for many semesters now. And so they actually come into that class, some of whom have heard about this particular project and its impact. Two people this semester, in fact, have come in for that purpose. The other side of the CEEP curriculum is it really is step-by-step. We are looking to make it as accessible for SBE 100 students as it is for SBE 400 students. And we do that by saying, for your research question for SBE 100 at the introductory level, we give you a list of questions that they get to choose from. And maybe it's one of the questions that have already been researched in CEEP before. And so the students are actually building on other people's research. That's a powerful, powerful thing about the curriculum itself. And I'd ask Jessica if you had any other comments on that.
No, I pretty much agree with everything you said. I think that the flexibility of CEEP is kind of where our strengths lie in terms of applying this in the classroom. So as we said before, like the steps can be modified for specific purposes and specific goals that you have in mind in terms of research and or entrepreneurship. So I think that's kind of what the benefits are. So you can tailor it to your specific course.
Great. This is a really straightforward webinar. We wanted to give you some of the benefits of what CEEP is all about. We will be diving deeper in some of the other webinars coming up, and we look forward to having you on those sessions. And Jessica, thank you so much for being part of this. Our other research assistant, Raymond Luke, came in a little bit late. Just wanted to say thank you, Raymond, for all of your work and all of your efforts too. I know that stepping in the middle of a webinar sometimes can be challenging to get you up and running. So I do appreciate you being here today. And thank you, Jessica, for all of your insights. It's very helpful.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone. And thanks so much. Everybody have a great one. Be sure you check out citizenpreneurs.com. That's our official website. And you can always get more information from us there, as well as contact us, see examples of students' work, download all the resources. It's all right there for you. Have a great one.